I went from LA to the Philippines and then broke. Yeah, I know it sounds crazy, but yes, that's what happened. I went from LA, moved to the Philippines, and quickly everything fell apart, and I found myself without money. So, just to recap and tell everyone my story, my name is Edric. I'm from LA. I lived a fairly comfortable life. I used to, drive nice cars, uh, spend time with my family, go to the beach, ride jet skis, sometimes maybe attend celebrity events, just to have fun. I'm not really into that type of thing, but, sometimes you want to experience certain things. Um, so, because of things going on, I was really tired of working and, you know, being told when to be at work or what to do, or, if I had a job, I always leaned towards business, investing, entrepreneurship. So, because the way things were going and I was just tired of it, I decided to move. In March of 2004, I moved to the Philippines. Also, because my wife is already a Filipina, she's from the Philippines, so it just made sense for me to move and save money. My intentions were to wholesale real estate from the Philippines to support myself. So let me explain that a little bit. So um, around 2022, I enrolled in Pace Morby's Sub 2 community to learn how to wholesale real estate. For those who don't know, Pace Morby is a best-selling author. He's the host of an A&E TV show called Triple Digit Flip, and he has a community called Sub 2. So it's Sub 2, which stands for subject to, and it's subject to the existing mortgage. In other words, you buy properties subject to the existing mortgage, meaning you buy properties basically by taking over the existing payments. Um, so yeah, this is a fairly common thing. It's very popular because people want to learn how to buy homes, with so little money and nice interest rates, etc., etc. And so I joined Sub 2. And when I first joined, it was a little confusing, a little difficult because you have to find your way. There's so many successful people. It kind of feels kind of distracting, or I should say, like a lot of pressure on you to succeed, because you may be around 19 and 20-year-olds who are making money. You're like, man, what are you doing? Like, you don't know where to go, how to find things, whatever. So for me to figure things out and to find my way, what I did was I joined a team. So I joined a team of, basically you will go join a team for an investor to teach you the things you need to know, so you can learn about how to find deals, how to make money, etc. So because we were wholesaling real estate, we were wholesaling deals, basically getting the property under contract for an agreed price, or an agreed price and agreed upon conditions or terms, and then you sell that agreement, that contract, to an investor. And so I joined the team. It was a guy named Sam Singh. Sam Singh is, surprisingly, he's an ex FBI agent. He's under 30. He's very rich right now. He's a multimillionaire. But when he joined Sub 2, he was a star because he did 52 deals his first year, which is amazing, which is just incredible, right? He did 52 deals his first year. So Sam taught me a lot. I learned a lot from Sam's team. When it first started off, it was a lot of people. It was like over 100 people, and then eventually it was whittled down to like 6 or 7 of us, I think, at the end. And not to brag or to put myself on a pedestal, but I do know when I was on the team, I consistently had the most like deals or leads, properties under contract. I always found deals. Um, so yeah, so I was on the team. I learned a lot, and I'm very thankful for to Sam. Like I said, Sam is an amazing guy. He's actually featured in Pace's book. Pace wrote a best-selling book called Wealth Without Cash, and there's a section on Sam because Sam is one of his success stories. So yeah, so that was an amazing experience learning how to wholesale, and so basically what I did is I closed the deal and I used that money to move to the Philippines in March of 2004. So my plan was to wholesale from the Philippines, and I also had other money to depend on. I had maybe 2 or 3 other deals that were closing in the next few weeks because sometimes deals get, delayed. Like a person may say, hey, we need to fix this or wait for the bank to do this. So how about we just rent the home for 5 or 6 months and then we'll buy it in this month or whatever. So one of the main things I was depending on, I was thinking that if I don't get any more deals, if nothing else comes through, if all things fall out, then I know in October I have a $7,000 payday because I had another deal closing in October. So yeah. So just to make it brief, when I got to the Philippines, everything fell apart. Everything. I just all the deals fell apart. New deals I got fell apart. It was just a disaster, and I quickly just ran out of money. I mean, just it was ridiculous. It was I don't know how to explain it. So, so I'm gonna go over 3 things that I think are my mistakes. One of the first things that was a mistake that I made, and that was not building a buyer's list. Buyers. Most people had buyers, but they were not really a necessity. You had to have them. It's best to have them, and Pace appreciate find your buyers first. But for people like me who come in and you're lost and you're trying to find your way, you spend so much time trying to learn how to get deals or how to sell and how to win people over, get over objections, etc., etc. So I didn't really do that as far as finding buyers, and one reason is because with those creative finance deals, the buyers of those deals are investors who want to rent those properties out. Those investors are online in Facebook groups, so it's easy to just go online to a Facebook group and you just take and post a deal, and people will inquire about them. You can sell them online. So Pace has a group called Creative Finance with Pace Morby on Facebook. And then, I'm from LA, so I was in the Southern California chapter, the LA chapter of Sub2. So we have a private Facebook group as well, and you can sell them in there. So yeah, I didn't build a buyer's list, but that was one of my first mistakes. And really, that mistake ended up hurting me this year. It didn't hurt me last year. It really hurt me this year, and I'll explain. Okay, so I got to the Philippines, everything fell apart. So my second mistake is where another reason for me failing and going broke. The second thing that hurt me was connectivity. So let me explain. When I got to the Philippines, we stayed in Naval. And we got an apartment by the beach, just right by the beach. You just walk out and walk around the corner, you're at the beach. It was a triplex, so it's a section called Atipolo. That's where we were. So me and my wife used to walk every evening, look at sunsets, buy things. It was very nice. It was I really liked it, and it was close to Naval. Naval was 10 minutes down the road. Naval is where you go buy all your food, and you can go to Jollibee or McDonald's or I may say this wrong, this chicken place, Mang Lasal. I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong. I know Filipinos probably laugh at me, but yeah, so all of that is involved in the little shopping you can do. They don't have much, but it's still a nice place. And so yeah, we stayed there, and it was okay, but I quickly had connectivity issues. And So our Wi-Fi was giving me problems. Now the Philippines is notorious for bad Wi-Fi, but I don't think it was just like the service. I really think it was the landlady, and the reason I say that is because, for instance, let's say we pay our Wi-Fi on a Friday, and then the next Wednesday or Thursday our Wi-Fi is out, right? And so then we'll contact our landlady like, hey, our Wi-Fi is out. And she'll be like, oh, I don't know what the problem is. Let me contact the company. So she'll contact the company, and it might be on the next day or whatever. So I was telling my wife, I said, I really think she's doing something with the money. Like when we're giving her the money to pay for this Wi-Fi, I think she's probably like spending the money and then just paying it later. And she's like, no, she has a lot of problems. She just doesn't remember. I'm like, that really doesn't make any sense, because if you tell a person like, here's the money for the Wi-Fi, just go ahead and pay it. But so I really felt like that because our neighbors and the people around us who had the same service, they never had any problem unless it was like a brownout. Everything was out, like everybody's service was out. But so that was I lost a lot of deals because of that, because the communication as far as me like speaking to agents and different things. And so the problem with that came in because I had to rely on other people. And don't get it wrong, I have people who can help me, with some of these things, but they are very, very busy. And so that's where some of the issues come from. So I lost deals because of connectivity. That was a main reason I failed and I ran out of money. And then miscommunication is the third thing. So, well, let's say connectivity / miscommunication. So I had some issues with miscommunication too, like me and certain people not speaking that much. So one person that helped me that I worked with is a guy named Richard Knowles. Richard Knowles is a very, very good dude. He was the Southern California leader of Sub 2. I think he's since stepped down because he's super busy, very successful. And so me and Richard did a few deals together, but we did one deal in Texas, in San Antonio, Texas, where we saved a woman from foreclosure. She was facing foreclosure. So this was a Sub 2 deal. We stopped the foreclosure. Richard worked with the bank, got a loan modification. And so we had to sell the deal. Now, in the process of us selling the deal is what I would say is the third thing that made me fail. And that's lying agents. Man, agents will lie. Trust me, I'm going to speak more on this again in another video. But anyway, this particular instance, this agent lied about there being a rental restriction with the property rental because it was a HOA. And we found this out after we had saved the property because the guy's like, yeah, no, there's nothing in the HOA, we'll get it to you. And so we just jumped to action to save the property. We didn't check everything. And then when it came time to sell the deal, we get the HOA and it's a rental restriction. So just so you know, rental restrictions are something you really need to know because, like I said, with Sub 2 deals, investors buy those deals, they take over the payments. So another thing about these deals is that a lot of times the payments are kind of high. So like, let's say the monthly payment to the bank is $2,500, and the rent for that property for the area may be $2,300. But there are other ways of making money. You can do Airbnbs, you can do midterm rentals. A midterm rental is basically like renting the rooms, but you may rent to like traveling nurses or doctors or airline pilots or military, etc. So rental restrictions kill Airbnb and midterm and different things. Some people figure out ways to get around it, but hey. So anyway, the guy lied, and so we were rushing to sell the deal. We were like reaching out to other people. Richard had somebody specifically helping him sell the deal. He got banned on Facebook Marketplace. I don't know why. It's happened to me. I think I'm currently banned right now from Marketplace. And so, but unbeknownst to me, is that he reached out to the seller because he had a communication with the seller because he had to speak directly with the seller to work, with the bank. And he told her, like, I guess he explained the situation, like, we're having problems online, so I want you to just tell the agent to put the property back on the market just in case. And to make a short story shorter, I reached out to a friend to see if she could help us sell the property, and she got it sold. And so when I spoke to the agent was upset. He was mad about the property being, him not knowing that Richard, was like, hey, put the property back on the market. He got mad about that. And so basically he shut down and like stopped communicating with us and all this stuff. And so he cut us out of the deal. He sold it to someone else. And but we saved the woman from foreclosure, which is a blessing. So yeah, that's another thing. Basically, agents lying, miscommunication. Like I said, there was things going on that Richard was doing. I'm not shading Richard. Richard's an excellent guy. I learned a lot from working with Richard. He's awesome. So yeah. So then, basically, to move further on my story, so that was the whole thing. Like those deals were very complicated because, like I said, a lot of times the payments are high. As far as the assignment fee is what you charge for those contracts when you sell them to an investor. That's how you make money. You make money off assigning the contract to someone else. So those deals don't pay that much. Like a creative deal may start off at like 10,000, 12,000, and then when you're dealing with investors, like they're trying to save money, so they may say, hey, you know what? Can I just give you 7,000 or whatever, right? So they come in less, and like it gets chopped down. And then if you're working with someone else, let's say like Richard and I are on the deal, so that's $3,500 a piece. So things like that happen. So Sam had been telling me when we were on the team, he spoke. He's like, cash is where it's at. Think about cash. And I think those 52 deals he did his first year were cash deals. And so, we want to learn this two thing is so unique. And, when it comes time for us to buy a home, we want to, and we want to do it a creative way. We know how to do it. So I was thinking about that. And then I had a friend who does door knocking. He's very, very successful at it. So basically what he does is he has a team and they go around Southern California and they door knock people who are facing foreclosure, and they ask them if they need help, and they work to save their home, just like Richard and I did. And so if they have to sell the home, then, they will sell to the person who's been helping them. And so he's very, very successful, and he showed me, like where he had made like just about almost 400,000 on a deal. And he told me, man, forget creative, do cash, and don't do any other states, just do California. There's enough money in California alone. So I followed his advice. I started doing cash and only California. So I did that at the end of 2024. And I closed the cash deal around that time. And, and that helped me out because all those other deals fell apart. The deal, actually, there was miscommunication on that deal, which made us end up making less money, but that's neither here nor there. So yeah, so after that, I ended up I started teaching VAs how to cold call, dispo. A dispo is a person who sells deals. How to do transaction coordinator work, different things. I started training VAs, and I was able to make some money like that to help me, get from point A to point B in between times I really needed the money. So so like for instance, I had a friend named Claire, and Claire, a couple from Sub 2 from LA, they reached out to me. She was their VA, and they asked me to train her, and I trained her. And then they didn't monitor. When you have VAs, you're supposed to like have them record their phone calls so you can monitor phone calls and make sure, see if they're making any mistakes, how they're doing as far as reaching out during the calls, if they're calling, etc. They didn't do that, so they eventually let her go. But I'm not gonna lie, I love Claire. I've helped Claire get hired 3 times. From Claire alone, I believe I've made about $1,500. But yeah, so that was a hack from me, like starting a team, because since I'm in the Philippines, I would teach Filipinos for free, and then they would reach out to get deals from me. So I have another person that I love a lot. That's Nina. When we first started the team, in the first month of them reaching out to agents to find deals, she got 4 contracts. She got 4 deals, right? So this is in 2025, beginning of 2025. So like, okay, things turn around. We're doing good. And so one of her deals was a land deal. We really didn't want to do it. We're like, hey, we'll try. But it fell apart because we had faulty comps that had made us price it wrong, so that fell apart. And then her other 3 deals, all her deals fell apart. It's like so disheartening. But yeah, one was in Silmar in the Valley. That one, the agent lied. Surprise, surprise, the agent lied about the foundation. So we had an agreement for a price, and we got a chance to look at the property, and we see foundation issues, and we try to readjust the price. The seller doesn't want to readjust. You know what I mean? So that deal fell apart. We had another deal in the desert, and you won't believe this, guys, but the agent lied on that deal. The property was landlocked. In other words, it's a desert property. People are interested. The buyers are going to the property, and they can't find the property. They're like, man, how do we find the property? So come to find out, it's a piece of land, but it doesn't have an access. It doesn't have land that has access to the road. So the agent was lying to the end about that. He was sending us stuff from the county. We're showing him things we got from the county, people we spoke to. The property's landlocked. There's no access. And he just lied to the very, very end. But yeah, so all those deals fell apart. But yeah, so anyway, that was a hack for me. Like I said, you can teach Filipinos for free. You can get paid for training VAs, or you can get paid for finding VAs for investors. That's one thing that you can do to make money. They help me out. So yeah, brief. That's my story. I hope I didn't draw it out too long. Got too technical for people. Yeah, I know some people are gonna hear my story and be like, "You idiot, you dummy, stupid. Why didn't you go? You should have had this. You should have had that. You should have had an online job, whatever." Right? I mean, hey, I'm an entrepreneur. We take risks. It is what it is. You learn from your mistakes. It's the only way to grow. A lot of people would have given up by now. So yeah, I mean, one thing I can say is that I've been humbled by this experience. I have learned a lot. This has helped me a lot. And so now, honestly, I don't even do business from a standpoint like I need to do business. I need deals. That actually helps me get more deals. I've gotten to the point where now I can get between 2 to 4 deals every month. But I've had a hard time selling those deals. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, for real. I moved to Cebu. I think we came here in June. And I've had, I don't know, 5 or 6 deals, and like none of them are sold. And I'll explain that in the next video. But anyway, the point I'm saying is going through all this has really humbled me, and I don't do business from I need the deal standpoint, a necessity standpoint. And that's a good thing, because you get more deals if you're not like that. I've had so many deals fail that I'm not like, oh, I have to get this deal. Oh, I need the money. You know what I mean? So it really helps. But anyway, that's my story. Thank you for listening. For the people who checked in, I am going to answer the question in the next video. Can I wholesale abroad? Can I wholesale from the Philippines? Can anybody wholesale from Cebu? So that is the question. So if you're interested in the answer, and if you'd like to follow my story and see me, watch me lock up my first deal in Cebu. When I say lock up, I mean get under contract and sell my first deal. I'm going to be correcting my mistakes, starting over. So please join me for the journey, and watch the next video as I answer the question, can I wholesale from Cebu? Thank you.